Welcome to the Deep Dive Library, your go-to podcast for raw, real insights on entrepreneurship, finance, and personal growth.
No fluff, just deep dives that move you forward.
Let's dive into these questions that people are always asking. First up, how do you really know if your business idea has what it takes? Is it actually good enough?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Second, how do you define a clear vision and purpose? Something that, genuinely drives a business.
The why. Crucial.
Third, launching something new is always risky. How can you reduce that risk, play it a bit safer maybe?
Good question. There are ways.
Fourth, building a brand. How do you create something that inspires people, that actually stands out from the crowd?
Making that connection, yeah.
And finally, the tough one. What should you do when your carefully crafted business strategy just isn't working?
When things go sideways, it happens.
Exactly. So we've gathered some different perspectives on these fundamental questions. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. These are the questions every founder faces, right? The landscape changes, tech evolves, but these core challenges, they stick around. We'll touch on everything from, early stage checks for e-businesses to broader ideas on innovation and branding.
All right, let's kick things off with that first massive question. Is my idea good enough? You get that initial buzz, that excitement.
Yeah.
But how do you get objective about its real potential?
Yeah, that excitement can be a bit blinding sometimes. And something that comes up again and again, particularly for online businesses, e-businesses, is the need for a feasibility study, like right at the start.
A feasibility study, even when it's just an idea.
Especially then. Some research looking into why e-business startups often fail points towards a lack of, clear guidelines for doing these checks early on. It contributes to that high failure rate we sometimes see.
Okay, so it's like a structured reality check before you dive too deep.
Right.
What does that actually involve for, say, an e-business just starting out?
Think of it as creating a kind of framework, a way to really test the idea's potential before you commit serious time and money.
Right. One study focusing on e-business incubation highlighted how vital this framework is. Not just for the founders, but for incubator staff too, helping everyone see if the idea's got legs even before it properly leaves the idea phase.
How do they even build such a framework? It sounds complex.
Well, often it involves something called a system engineering approach. Basically, you break the whole big idea down into smaller, manageable parts and analyze each one.
Breaking it down, okay, like what kind of parts are we talking about? What angles do you need to look at?
You're generally looking at a few core areas. First, there's the economic feasibility, the money side.
Can it actually make money?
Pretty much. You do a cost analysis, what's everything going to cost?
Yeah.
And also sensitivity analysis.
Sensitivity analysis?
Yeah, it's like running what-if scenarios. What if supplier costs go up? What if customer acquisition takes longer? How does that mess with your bottom line? It tests how robust your financial plan is.
Got it. So stress testing the numbers. Okay, what else is on the checklist? Then, technical feasibility. Now, for many e-businesses, this isn't about inventing some crazy new technology. It's more about, does the tech you need already exist? And can you actually implement it? Can you build the website, integrate the payment systems? Is it realistic?
So practicality. Can you actually build the thing with existing tools? Makes sense. Next.
Legal feasibility. Hugely important. You need to understand the laws, the regulations. Is your business even legal in your target market? Are there specific rules for online selling you need to follow? Even things like, is the government or regulatory body ready for what you're proposing?
The not so fun stuff, but yeah, essential. Permits, data privacy, all that. Okay, what else?
Marketability or market feasibility. Is there actually a real need or desire for what you want to sell?
Do people want it?
Exactly. Who are your customers? Where are they? Will they actually buy this thing? Interestingly, some research suggests for e-business startups, especially early on, understanding the potential size of the market is maybe even more critical at this stage than doing a super deep dive on competitors.
Interesting. So focus first on whether there's anyone who wants it before worrying too much about who else is selling something similar.
Kind of, yeah. At that very initial stage, the potential audience size is a huge factor. Then you also need to think about administrative feasibility.
Meaning?
Do you have the management skills needed? Or can you get them? Who's going to run this day to day? And finally, scalability.
Can it grow?
Right. Can you handle more customers, more orders? That's vertical scaling. And can you expand new products, new markets? That's horizontal scaling.
Wow, okay. That's quite a comprehensive check, just to see if an idea is worth pursuing. It really underlines how much thinking needs to happen before you leap.
Definitely. And one more thing, before you even start that formal feasibility study, you need clarity on the basic idea itself. How does it fit in the online world? What's its role in the bigger picture, the value chain? That basic understanding has to come first.
Right. Foundational clarity. Okay, so let's say you've done the checks. The idea seems solid. Now, what about defining the why? The vision, the purpose. It has to be more than just profit, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're looking at something like a social enterprise where the goal is positive impact. The mission statement is the absolute heart of it.
Mission statement.
Yeah, it spells out your central purpose, your core principles, your strategy. It gives you direction. And it must align with your business plan. Think of the business plan as the map, the vision as the destination.
And the mission statement.
This is like the signpost telling you how to get there.
Signposts along the way. I like that. So when you're writing that mission, what should the main focus be? The activity or something else?
Definitely focus on the results, the changes you want to create for your clients or customers, not just the methods you'll use.
Can you give an example?
Sure. So instead of saying your mission is to provide business training, maybe it's to increase income and market access for entrepreneurs in underserved communities. Focus on the outcome for them, the so what.
That makes a big difference. It's about the impact, not just the doing. How does the vision fit with the mission then?
The vision is that bigger picture, the aspirational future you're working towards. What does the world look like if you succeed? The mission is how you actively get there. And alongside these, you need clear objectives.
Objectives, right? Like goals.
Exactly. Both social impact goals, maybe asset accumulation for clients, or improved health outcomes and financial viability goals. Things like cost recovery, maybe profit sharing if that fits the model. You need both.
Balancing the mission with making sure the lights stay on. Got it. And who should be involved in figuring all this out? Just the founder?
Ideally, no. It's really important to get input from all your key stakeholders when defining the vision, mission, and objectives. It builds buy-in, gets everyone pulling in the same direction.
Makes sense. Shared ownership.
And, this isn't just for social enterprises. Any company benefits hugely from a clear vision. People like Simon Sinek argue that the best leaders lead a cause, not just a company. They connect on that deeper why.
Lead a cause, not just run a company. That really hits home. It's about something more meaningful. Okay, idea check. Done. Vision and purpose defined. Now for the scary part, launching. How do you manage the risk and uncertainty that comes with putting something new out there?
Yeah, the launch jitters. A key area to focus on here is what's called the front end of innovation, or FEI.
FEI?
Yeah, it's all the stuff that happens before formal product development kicks off. Brainstorming, exploring ideas, analyzing them, kind of the idea incubation phase.
The sandbox, maybe? But isn't it hard to justify spending resources there when you don't even have a product yet? Seems like a gamble.
It can feel that way, sure. Allocating resources when the return isn't crystal clear is always tough. But investing smartly in FEI actually helps reduce uncertainty later. It helps prevent bigger, more costly mistakes down the road.
How so?
Well, the FEI stage is incredibly flexible. Changing your mind or tweaking the direction here, a cost is relatively low compared to changing course after you've sunk a load of money into development.
Okay. Lower stakes for experimenting. So what are some practical ways to actually reduce risk during this FEI phase?
One really effective strategy is involving your potential users or community early on. Think about Lego ideas. Users submit ideas, the community votes. That gives Lego real validation before they commit.
So getting market feedback baked in early.
Exactly. Getting market information early and doing it systematically, surveys, interviews, user testing is vital. Don't just guess what people want.
Right. Talk to actual potential customers. Any other tactics for the FEI?
Running small preliminary projects can be invaluable. Test a basic concept, build a minimum viable product, run a pilot, get real-world feedback before going all in.
Testing the waters.
Precisely. And having some structured processes for how you handle ideas in the FEI stage improves decision-making and makes sure everyone's on the same page. It stops potentially good ideas getting rushed through without proper thought or bad ideas getting too far.
So structure helps avoid chaos and it ensures visibility.
You got it. Plus, a more formalized front end can sometimes help protect funding for those early exploratory projects. They can easily get cut if there's pressure for quick results, but they might be where your next big thing comes from.
Protecting the space for future innovation. Okay, so let's assume you've navigated that early stage, reduce some risk. Now you need to build your brand. How do you make it memorable, make it stand out?
This is where your unique selling proposition, your USP, comes in. It's fundamental.
USP. Heard that term a lot. What does it really mean in practice?
It's about clearly defining what makes you different and, crucially, better in the eyes of your ideal customer. It's your brand's core essence. One piece looking at schools put it nicely, it's about showing your values and how you operate uniquely. That applies everywhere.
Okay, so how do you find your USP? Where do you start?
Start with your strengths. What are you genuinely proud of? What do you always tell potential customers or new hires? But then, and this is key, try to step outside your own perspective. Look at your business like a potential customer would. What would grab their attention?
Get some distance, some objectivity. What about competitors?
Absolutely critical. Look at what they're saying. Are they highlighting the same strengths you are? If yes, then what do you do differently within that? What's unique about your approach or offer?
Find the gap or the unique angle.
Exactly. And maybe counterintuitively, understanding your weaknesses is also part of this, and being honest about your competitors' strengths too. It helps you define where you truly stand out.
Acknowledging weaknesses. Isn't that risky for a brand?
It can feel like it, but handled right, it can build authenticity. Maybe you address it out on with a plan, or maybe you just double down on the areas where you are undeniably strong. McKinsey research points out that the strongest brands blend science, customer insights with art, creativity, and craft execution.
Insights, creativity, execution.
Okay. And in today's world, with things changing so fast, that deep customer understanding, a clear purpose brought to life creatively, and a consistent experience are more important than ever.
It really feels like it goes beyond just a logo or a slogan.
Totally. It's about the why. Why do you do what you do? That's what people connect with, much more than just the what or the how. Real innovation isn't just adding a new flavor of toothpaste. It's creating something fundamentally different, like the first iPhone, that builds real loyalty because it solves a deep need or connects on a different level.
That toothpaste versus iPhone example really clarifies it. Okay, solid brand, clear why, but then what happens if the strategy just isn't working? You've launched, you're operating, but the results aren't there. What do you do?
Yeah, the pivot point, or maybe the uh-oh moment. Agility is key here, especially online where things move so fast.
Low barriers to entry, lots of competition.
Exactly. Innovation, speed, surprise, they're vital in the digital space. Even established startups constantly juggle innovating while supporting current customers and trying not to become obsolete. Interestingly, some analysis suggests that even big mistakes, those lapses, can sometimes accidentally lead to breakthroughs in the startup world. So don't be too afraid to stumble.
Learn from the stumbles. Okay. But if the main strategy is failing,
First step is often to step back. Take a deep breath. Honestly reassess. Does the core idea still have potential? Do you still have the passion for it? It can be a real soul-searching moment.
soul searching, what kind of issues typically come up then?
Often it comes down to basics. Is the business idea actually profitable? Is the market really there, and did you misread it? Is your business structure right? Even things like, is your accounting managed properly?
Back to fundamentals again. So what actions can you take?
Pivoting is a big one. Changing direction. There's that story of wedding photographers who got laid off, then found huge success focusing their skills differently. It's about adapting.
Using existing skills in a new way.
Right. And listening to customers is non-negotiable. Are they buying what you're selling, or are they asking for something else? That Travel Ninja example is great. They adjusted based on what people actually wanted to buy, not just what the founders thought they needed.
Let the market guide you, not just your assumptions.
Definitely. And even if things go wrong, like a difficult partnership, I think early Groupon stories try to focus on the learning. What exposure did you get? What can you take away? And don't forget the power of relationships and just plain hustling, especially early on, talking to people, getting the word out personally. It often beats just throwing money at ads initially.
That human touch again.
It matters. Providing amazing customer service, those small things can make a huge difference. And one last point, pricing. If things aren't working because your prices are too low to be sustainable, sometimes raising your prices can actually work. It can signal confidence and value, and clients who appreciate what you do might respond positively.
Fascinating. So raising prices might actually help if you're undervaluing yourself. Okay, so when the strategy falters, reassess honestly. Be ready to pivot. Listen hard to customers, hustle, serve well, and don't be afraid to charge what you're worth.
That sums it up pretty well. It's rarely a straight line. It's about adapting and learning constantly.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. A real deep dive into those core entrepreneurial questions. So just to recap quickly, We looked at properly vetting your idea with feasibility studies, defining that crucial vision and purpose, ways to reduce risk during innovation, building a brand that genuinely connects, and importantly, how to react and adapt when your strategy isn't hitting the mark.
And perhaps for everyone listening, as you think about your own business or idea, consider which of these areas, feasibility, vision, risk, brand, adaptation, needs your attention right now. What's one small, actionable step you could take, maybe even today, to strengthen that foundation and keep moving forward?